Always. All right, 1, 2, 3. Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm Julie.
And we are
Tim and Julie.
Well, it seems like we've been kind of idle for a little bit on videos, and I'm sure Julie's going to share a little something about what has kind of kept us busy for the last couple of weeks, about 2.5 weeks, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
So, Julie, why don't you talk about Landon?
Thanks, Tim. So my grandson Landon 3 weeks ago tomorrow had a head injury, which led to brain surgery and removal of part of his skull. Anyways, very traumatic experience for us, for the whole family, and definitely for Landon. So he is in a recovery process and will be for a few more months. So through the journey of the tragedy of his accident and the process of healing him, we got to discover a few things about us. So anything else you want to add to that before we go into us?
Well, I think some of it has to do with the previous video we talked about. It takes our journeys to be here together, and some of the knowings we had about what we wanted to do differently. Certainly for me, it was very clear to me that I did not want to continue to do the things that didn't work in my prior relationship, in our relationship. And I was actually getting ready to fly on a plane the evening or the morning after when Landon got hurt, and he was in the emergency room and went to emergency surgery. And we were both in Phoenix, and we got the call, and I had a flight to catch the next morning. My intuition told me that Landon's going to be okay, and I felt strongly about that, and I felt calm about it. And obviously with the family connection that Julie has, she needed to be in a car and headed up to Flagstaff, where he was coming out of ICU. So
he was coming out of surgery into ICU.
Yeah, coming out of surgery into ICU. So I felt like everything was going to be okay, and so long as the situation is under control, the doctors are there, my logical side of me kicked in, and my natural behavior kicked in, which is, okay, everything's fine, you know, I don't have to be there, I'll be on a plane, I'll go do the breadwinning, I'll be happy to go do my part of my journey here is to care for myself. So, financially. So I went to be on a plane the next morning, and I was sitting there thinking about, you know, if I want to make changes in my life, I've got to actually do them. So, kind of ironic. So I ended up, 5 minutes before the flight, the doors closed on the plane. I went up to the gate and I told them, I said, I'm going to abort. I'm heading back up to Flagstaff, and they were real nice about it. So they took care of it, thanks to US Air. They took care of that, and so I ended up coming back to Flagstaff to be with Julie and also for the family. I had a strong feeling that Landon was going to be okay. We had no evidence of that because that night they told the family that he is not going to live through the night. So I did not hear all that. I didn't get the drama because I ended up having to get up pretty early at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch a flight. And so my journey back to Flagstaff was really to support and be there and hold space for the family and be there for you. That is not the natural reaction I would have had over the last 25 years, 30-year marriage in my prior situation. So I wanted to make sure that even though I know logically everything was going to be settled and there's nothing I could do other than wait in the waiting room, being there for the family was an integral part. So I told the guys at the office I'm not going to be there, and so they were supportive, and it was very nice that the people kicked in full, which I didn't feel pressured, but it was just being there. So that was an awareness to me that you know, in our journeys we talk about change, and then little things like this happen, and not so little, but little things in terms of the decisions we make every day, how it can have such impactful ramifications. And you can talk about your perspective of me not needing me there, because you're a very strong woman. You've always been a strong woman with the family, and me not being there was not even a question, apparently. So I'll let you describe your experience with this.
Sure. So I'll step back just a little bit. So before Tim and I had actually started our relationship, before I met him and we started dating, I'd already had gone through a couple years by myself and had set intentions specifically that I was going to do a relationship differently, and being out of the previous relationship gave me the opportunity to really look at where the past partner and I had stopped expanding, and both in that expansion and growth had stopped because of things in both our pasts or whatever. It just, there were certain points that we just could never cross. And so I knew that if in the next relationship, if I wanted something different, I would have to do those boundaries and those blocks different. And I didn't know how to do that. And a lot of times you didn't even realize that you're doing them. So, like Tim said, I never asked him to stay or come with me that I remember. We found out at like 9:30 on a Monday night, and I got in my car and trucked 3 hours up to Flagstaff, and I was there. And talked to him early in the morning because he was preparing to get on the airplane. But it was just, we're just going to go through this, and there wasn't anything that any of us could do for Landon. We had to completely surrender and let the medical team work with him. So in that regard, there really was nothing for Tim physically to do with this child. Not understanding how much support having his presence be there with my son and his partner, and my ex-partner and his partner, and there's another couple of the kids. Just to know that he cared enough to be there was tremendous. Which it took us a week into this process of revisiting the hospital and coming together and crossing paths to really understand the power of that, which we would have never gotten to experience if he had gotten on the airplane. And it was about a week later, and Landon had a really bad weekend, and then a really bad night when I was there visiting. They had told us for a couple of days we couldn't see them, and I got an opportunity to go see him, and Tim wasn't able to join me that time. So it was really difficult to be in the space and watch a child that little be in so much pain and be in so much anguish. And they had tried bringing him out of the coma, and it wasn't working. And so there was just a lot of doubt again, another conversation with the family that he may not make it. So we just relived the previous week in this moment again. And that's when it really hit, because Tim was home, and I could go home and just be with him. And I needed that. I needed to just go home. I just needed to be wrapped up in his arms and just be. And it's something that I hadn't identified before, because I was always the strong one. So my motto in life has been, that either I'm just solid or I'll just do it myself. So there was no awareness for me to do anything but do it by myself until this event, which was very tragic. It's almost ironic that we would have to have something this tragic to bring about this amount of change in consciousness and how our personalities are to do something differently. So it was a huge awareness for me, and then it also caused me to be different in our relationship. That awareness will change our relationship from this point forward. I can't go back now. So now that I know that, I really do need to have somebody present. I need somebody who can be strong with me. I need somebody who's stronger than me at times so that they can be strong with me, because I also understand that takes a certain personality to do that with me. So there's a lot of nuances that came with awareness that we're just kind of experiencing now.
So we learned a little bit about each other, and the lesson I learned was if you want to make a change and you talk about change, you actually have to do it. So, and the results obviously will be varied. Your mileage will vary. For me, I will say this to any of the guys that are listening: don't be a tough guy. You need to suck it up and do the things that comes from the heart. Certainly my mind kicked in. I was on the road. I was going to be gone all week. It was an emergency situation at work too, and I had to be on a plane. So at the end of the day, there'll be people supporting you through what you need. Don't be a tough guy. Just do what you need to do. Don't do what comes naturally. Always question if it's coming naturally. Is it in the right space for the right reasons? And certainly, financially, everything will be fine. There's no problems there. But you always can rationalize why you need to be on a plane. But it's sometimes you take for granted your partner when they really need you, when you're the strongest and they're strong and you're both strong. Maybe it's harder when you got two couples that are really strong and capable. That this may accentuate more because you feel like, oh, she's got it covered, And the truth is, You need to be there for her. So anyway, just want to make sure that we talked a little bit about that today, and we'll pick another topic next time. Landon is doing well. He is as well as can be expected. So he will be recovering in Phoenix, hopefully through therapy. They'll get him out of ICU in a couple of days. So thank you so much for all the love that you guys have given through the Facebook pages, the calls, the emails to the family. It has meant so much for us, and we just can't say enough about the power of the miracle of prayer and you guys being there in space and holding space for him in ways we could feel the angels in his room, and it's just absolutely amazing recovery. The doctors absolutely are shocked that he's recovered, and they call him tough guy for a reason. So he's been a tough guy. So he has a journey, and he's here for a reason, and he's teaching us some things.
He is. Yep. So it's an awesome experience, and maybe someday we'll talk about the tough guy a little bit more. So amazing journey that he is also on. Huge soul path to make something this big as a 3.5-year-old, and to be able to grow and expand, and the rest of us all doing it with him. So it's teaching everybody a lot.
So on that note, our signature. See y'all later.
Right.